They thought she was just an intern with a clipboard. No rank, no voice, no battlefield history. But when the base came under threat, and their top sergeant froze, she stepped forward, and what she revealed left the entire command center speechless. When Nina arrived at the military base, nobody paid much attention. She wore plain clothes, carried a simple tablet, and was introduced as a civilian intern assigned to observe only. She sat quietly during briefings, walked behind officers during inspections, and kept to herself during meals. Some of the recruits assumed she was part of an admin program, maybe a secretary doing paperwork for higher-ups. A few of them even joked about her taking notes for a school project. Nina never corrected them. She listened carefully, watched everything, and never reacted, even when they laughed in her presence or dismissed her questions. Her ID badge gave no rank, just a name and clearance code nobody bothered to check. Every morning, she was there before the rest. She walked through the equipment sheds, noting missing labels, outdated manuals, and wires taped together in ways that could be dangerous. Still, she said nothing. Her job was to observe. Or at least, that's what they had been told. During briefings, when the room was filled with uniforms, maps, and urgent voices, Nina would sit in the back, unnoticed, yet entirely focused. She watched how the team communicated under pressure, how they handled bad intel, and how they often skipped protocols in the rush to impress their seniors. What no one realized was that Nina wasn't just watching. She was tracking patterns, collecting data, and mentally preparing for a moment they didn't even know was coming. And in a base where everyone was trying to be the loudest, strongest, or smartest, Nina's quiet presence became the one thing that, when the time came, would matter the most. She wasn't invisible. She was waiting, and soon, the reason for her silence would shake the entire camp. It started like any other morning: drills, check-ins, and tactical review. The sergeant leading the session, a sharp-tongued man named Dorian, was known for his impatience. As usual, Nina was seated in the back of the room, tablet in hand, eyes quietly scanning the room. The discussion was tense. A classified deployment was coming up, and only select operatives were being reviewed. When Dorian asked his aide to pull up clearance files for final approval, something strange happened. One of the junior officers hesitated as he looked at the screen, then leaned in, squinting. "Sir, there's one more name on the list," he said slowly. "But it's not supposed to be there." Dorian barked back. "Then remove it." But when the name appeared on the wall screen, the room fell silent. Nina Salim 3 combat zones to covert operations. 1 classified evacuation. Everyone turned to her. The same woman they thought was just an observer. Dorian's jaw clenched as he stared at her deployment record, each line more shocking than the last. A covert rescue, mission in hostile territory, survival under siege without backup. 1 operation still blacked out entirely. No details, just a mission code and an elite clearance level higher than even Dorian's. No one spoke for a full minute. Then the questions started. "Why weren't we told? Is this real?" Dorian finally demanded. "Who are you, really?" Nina looked up calmly. "You said I was here to observe, so I did." That single line hit harder than any shout. Everything they thought they knew about her had just flipped. Respect turned into disbelief, then something else, fear. Because suddenly, the quiet girl in the corner wasn't just part of the room. She might be the most experienced person in it. The silence from the briefing room good 4 hours. Whispers followed Nina wherever she went, not mocking this time, but cautious, curious. Even those who had ignored her earlier now stood when she walked past. Dorian, the sergeant who once dismissed her entirely, called a private meeting. He didn't like surprises, especially ones that made him look foolish in front of his team. He sat across from her, arms folded tightly, Why didn't you say anything earlier?" he asked, though his tone lacked its usual bite. Nina responded softly. "Would it have made a difference?" That question hung in the air like fog. He sighed. "You've done more than half my men ever will. That blackout mission, not many walk away from those. And now they've assigned you here, as an observer. That's not a mistake. That's a test." For the first time, he leaned forward, his voice quieter. "They want to see if we'll recognize the asset in the room before it's too late." Later that evening, the main strategy session resumed, but this time, Nina wasn't seated in the back. Her chair had been moved to the front table. Her input was requested, not just noted. She spoke clearly, detailing flaws in the original deployment plan that no one else had caught. The room listened, truly listened. By the end of the session, something had shifted. She wasn't the outsider anymore. The recruits saw her differently, not because of the record on the screen, but because of how she carried herself after it was revealed. No pride, no show, just steady knowledge, quiet strength. Dorian didn't say much as the meeting ended, but as he walked out, he gave her a single nod, a silent admission of respect. She had more than earned. Just 2 days after Nina was moved to the main unit, everything changed. A real threat emerged, a border signal breach with strange patterns. It wasn't a drill this time. The entire command center buzzed with urgency. Officers shouted coordinates, analysts scrambled to decode signals, and junior recruits looked around nervously for direction. Nina didn't wait to be told what to do. She walked calmly to the nearest terminal, pulled up the satellite feed, and began cross-referencing the interference with past attack patterns. Most of the team wasn't sure what they were seeing. The data was chaotic, but Nina saw something else. It's a deception pattern, she said firmly. They're mimicking drone swarms to distract us from a ground insertion here. She pointed to a quiet mountain pass no one had paid attention to. Some still hesitated. After all, she wasn't officially ranked high enough to override orders. But then Sergeant Dorian stepped forward. If she says it's real, we act like it is, he said without hesitation. Move the intercept units now. The team responded. Units were deployed to the mountain pass within minutes, and just as Nina predicted, a small enemy convoy tried to cross under radar. They were intercepted without a single casualty on the defending side. The room went still. It was the kind of calm that follows shock, not from danger, but from realizing how narrowly disaster had been avoided. Dorian turned to Nina. "You just save lives. You know that, right?" Nina didn't smile. She just nodded slightly and returned to her terminal. This wasn't about praise. It was about doing the job right. The job they said she was only sent to observe. But now, no one in that room doubted she was meant to lead. A week later, a quiet ceremony was held at the base. Nothing grand, no press, no speeches, just a room of soldiers, officers, and intelligence heads gathered around a table with a single folder, Nina's reassignment orders. She was no longer marked as an observer. The file now listed her as strategic analyst, grader, with direct clearance to command intercept operations. It was the highest rank given to someone from her program, and the youngest in recent history. Sergeant Dorian handed her the file silently. Their eyes met for a moment, no need for words. He had seen what she could do, and so had everyone else. As she stepped out into the courtyard, the younger recruits she once trained beside stood in a quiet line. Some saluted, others just nodded with a kind of respect that doesn't need noise. Even those who once doubted her kept their distance, not out of guilt, but awe. They knew now that she hadn't just earned her place, she had redefined it. Later, that evening, Nina returned to the radio tower where she first worked alone. She sat beside the rusted equipment, the same chair where she had been observing months ago. The sky was turning gold, the sun dipping low. She turned the knobs, letting static fill the silence. Her hijab fluttered gently in the breeze, her face calm, her eyes sharp. Asterisk, a soft voice crackled through the old signal. Tower 2, you'll live. Requesting input. Asterisk, she leaned forward and pressed the mic button. Ready, send coordinates. Asterisk, at that moment, she wasn't just part of the system. She was guiding it. A woman once overlooked, now silently shaping every mission from the shadows. Asterisk, she didn't need applause. Asterisk, the results had already spoken for her. Asterisk, if Nina's story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with others who believe in silent strength. Asterisk, subscribe to Hidden Brave for more powerful stories of real-life heroes who were never meant to be forgotten. Asterisk,